We in here now, boo.
I know. It's been a minute.
A long minute.
Very long. It's been a long minute for me, not for you. You've been recording consistently.
Yeah, trying to walk in a lane that my wife has bestowed upon me.
I mean, it makes sense. It's you. It's
trying.
you sharing your life experiences and your life lessons as a husband and a father.
I think it's a need for it.
Obviously.
Yeah. I never saw it coming in his particular type of way. Like I knew one day, eventually, these would be conversations, but I definitely didn't see it unfolding like this.
Yeah. How do you feel about all the feedback you've been getting?
Good. I mean, the dope thing about this is it's really been primarily positive.
Right.
Like by a long shot. Like I don't get little to any like negative feedback on this or whatever. So, and I think a large part of that is just because I'm talking about us and my experience as a husband. And again, I don't want to try to come across as like an expert or nothing like that. I think I do have a pretty effective way of thinking about some things that I think a lot of other husbands and fathers don't think about. Not to say that my way is the right way, but this is something that I'm doing that's worked for me, or I have done that's worked for me. You could try it too.
Yeah.
If you're struggling in this particular area, here's another way to look at it.
Right.
So that's been my approach.
I think it's really dope.
Thank you.
I love that you finally took what I said and was like, you know what? I'm going to just try it and see what happens. And it's been dope watching it become what it is now, watching you enjoy the process of sharing just yourself with the world. I think that shit is dope.
I appreciate it, baby. I mean,
because it doesn't feel like it's something that's forced. It just feels really natural. It seems really natural. Like your content like really hits home, and you can tell it's stuff that you've implemented. It's not you just bullshitting off the top of your head, especially because you have so many stories in your content too, to like, that's relevant to whatever you're speaking on. So it's really dope.
Yeah, usually before I record at this point, like I always look for a reference point before I start to expand on a thought.
Yeah.
I'm like, where do the lines connect with this particular situation and this particular message that I want to share?
Right.
So that's really been like the foundation of it. Like it's nothing that I'm sharing that I haven't already applied or at least thought through. And I honestly, that's really like my whole approach in all of this now. Like just finding either ways that I've thought about certain things or going back and reevaluating old experiences, situations, whatever, and extracting the lessons that I got out of it with people. Like, this is what I took from this situation.
Yeah.
I'm going to share it with you, and I hope it serves somebody well.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm taking my strides in this particular lane. And I appreciate you, again, leading me or pushing me in this, pushing me to do it.
Pushing you to do something you was already doing. Just
in a different way.
On a bigger scale, just sharing it with other people.
Yeah, that's what you do, baby. That's what you do. You extract the greatness out of me. You extract some of the best parts of me out, and I appreciate that. I think that's one of the most amazing things about having an amazing partner who's in the fight with you, who believes in you, who supports you.
Absolutely.
They're able to see certain things that you don't see, and also to be able to encourage you and inspire you to take certain actions, and so I appreciate it.
Of course.
How about you though, baby? How has things been for you lately? I know that you've had a lot going on since the last time we recorded, and I know sometimes things can get a little bit overwhelming having so many moving pieces. Where are you at, like mentally, like as a mom, as a creator, as a wife? Like, where are you right now? Like, where do you feel drawn to, so to say?
Where do I feel drawn to? Well, right now I feel like absolute joy and excitement about life and what's to come with what we're trying to build together. Just excited for what's to come. I feel like I have the same things going on, like as far as like training, and I think I'm leaning more into, I'm kind of like changing my content around now to make sure that it is tailored to women. Because a lot of my content that I've been creating, I don't know, it's like drawn men for some odd reason.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make sure my messaging is what palatable for women so they can receive it and be inspired by my message as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, and things like that. So I feel more like, even as you're walking into sharing more about being a husband and a father, I'm more like inspired to share about, you know, what I've learned as a wife and as a mom and things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to tailor my content towards that also, because I feel like that shit is needed too, because nobody really talks about, especially being a wife, nobody really talks about being a wife. So I definitely want to share more about that.
Yeah.
Things I've learned.
And I think us doing that is so valuable today, especially because, you know, there's not a whole lot of people giving real world, I don't want to call it advice, but perspective on what it takes to have a meaningful and lasting relationship, and a lot of the personal development that goes into it individually and as a team.
Yeah.
And I don't see it much. I mean, you do in Christian circles or in church or religious circles, so to say. But that message doesn't always connect with everybody. And though I believe, you know, that God does play a huge role in a lot of this stuff, sometimes people have to also be able to have other ways to find their way to the source in a way that they can receive it that doesn't sound so
in the clouds
and disconnected from them. So I think in us using our experiences, like thinking through certain things, the way that we use personal development, not only just for business and our mindsets, but also in our marriage, I think that really gives it a different approach that a lot of people don't get.
Yeah.
Because like we read a lot of personal development books, business books, all of that stuff. And now I'm being able to see how it's so parallel to relationships and marriage and stuff like that also.
Right.
And I never thought about it at the level that I do now.
Absolutely.
I'm like, man, it's the same stuff. Like you're just changing the name.
Yeah.
You're just changing what target market, your spouse or potential spouse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like your demographic, like there's so many different words in that particular space, but it's really all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So some of the same stuff that's helped us professionally, I think we done just found a way to be able to communicate that same thing over in marriage and relationships. So I think that's really going to be like our leg up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think how I feel about marriage now is so much deeper than it was when we first got married.
Yeah.
Because we've learned so much in our marriage, and we've grown so much in our marriage, and it's like, damn, like, okay, now we're at a point to where it's like, how can we grow even more? What goals can we set with each other? Where is our marriage even going? Like, what are we trying to build here? It's not just about love. It's not just about happiness. It's not just about gender roles. It's not about that. It's like, okay, we're married. What are we trying to do collectively to build each other up, or to build a thing, or both? So I think that's really important. People are sitting down and talking about, hey, what are we doing here? Like, what is our marriage about, and what are we trying to build with it?
Yeah.
Does that make? I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like there's a purpose behind the marriage. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's bigger than just love.
Yeah.
You need love in it.
Absolutely.
You need compassion. You need, you know, all of those other things that make the union special and romantic and all that stuff. But it still has to be deeper than that, because you still need individual fulfillment.
Absolutely.
And you still need collective fulfillment too.
Right.
You need to know that you're still growing in this life that we still have to live and grow through to the very last day. So it has to be a way bigger objective beyond I love you and just want to be with you. Like we have to set out to do something together.
Yeah.
And also that has to be bigger than just a kid, because at some point in time, that child is going to leave.
Absolutely.
And your life is still going to go on. And you're still going to have to be able to find ways to grow together to give your union a sense of meaning and fulfillment. Like you have to, because like we always say, man, if you're not growing, you die. So you have to be able to find those meaningful ways to live for something collectively together that's bigger than the both of you, that you can both pour into and contribute to. And that allows you to be able to find ways to grow together and do it with intention.
That's good.
Yeah, that's how I think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes a lot of couples get wrapped up in just the highlight reel moments. We need to date more. Date more ain't always the fix for everything.
Right.
Like you still got your problems. You still got unresolved things. You still got all of that stuff going on in your mind inside of those dates. You still got things that you need to talk about, that you need to discuss, that you need to accomplish. You still got all of these other things. You still got lifing.
Yeah.
And yes, you want those dates and those experiences or whatever. But again, those are just moments that you should have.
Yeah.
But you should also have other moments to be able to build the both of you up outside of those moments.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. And so, yeah, man, I think we've really carved our own lane in this, so to say.
Yeah, I like you said, I didn't see us going this route for sure, but it makes so much sense. It makes a lot of sense, because these aren't conversations that people are having, or if they are having it, they're not having it publicly to share, so people can like learn and grow and say, hey, like that's something like I never thought about. I can probably do this in my marriage, or try it, or whatever, or just giving people a sense of just a new perspective on how to see their marriage, or how to look at their spouse and things like that. Like, and know that like you're not the only one that's kind of like going through things in your marriage. Like marriage does take work. You know, it's not always, like you said in one of the posts you made, it's not about happiness. Like you're not going to always be happy, because life be lifing for both people together and individually.
Right.
So you got to learn how to maneuver through those things. And it's dope to, I know we don't have a community like that, but it would be dope to have a community of married couples you can just talk these things through with. And nobody's judging. It's just like, you know what? This is what happens in marriage. Let's grow from it. Like, I think that shit is dope.
That's real. Because like, even in you saying that, like, I think about all of the other successful marriages I've seen, the ones that work, the ones that aren't working as well as they probably could. And I think something that I've always seen is that some of the most happy and fulfilling relationships usually always come back to the two people who have a shared vision and values, and something that they can still collectively like contribute to and find a way to be able to grow. Like it has to be big enough, because like we said, like happiness is so temporary. Yeah. That's why I say like you add so much joy to my life, because when we speak of joy, joy is internal. Joy means that the bliss that I experience in life, that the fulfillment I experience and feel in life is not dependent upon one moment. I could still have those things in a good day, a bad day. I could have them on, you know, when stuff is going south, when we're trying to figure out certain situations and whatever we're dealing with, and this causing a little bit of friction. Like I'm still in this thing with my wife, and I'm joyful about that. And it's not dependent upon just one experience or moment that says, happiness. Right. Like, no, like the whole process for me is a moment or is an experience that I can have joy through. And even when we reach that end goal or whatever the desired outcome is, there's still joy because now we're about to start growing towards something else.
Right.
When we pivot, when we change, when we start doing other things that mean something to us, I got joy through all of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not about just the experience. It's the fact that I'm doing it with somebody I love.
Right.
It's the fact that I'm doing something that's meaningful to me. Mm. It's the fact that I have the opportunity to do something that brings me and my wife together.
Yeah.
It's all of those things that create joy around whatever the objective is.
Yeah.
Or whatever the experience or moment is. Mm-hmm. So much bigger than just a happy moment.
Right.
And you have to be able to find it in the good, in the bad, in the rough days, in the not so great moments, all of that. Mm. Even in our worst days, man, I still had joy with you.
Yeah.
And people have to understand that you really got to be able to have somebody who you're willing to go through all of that with. Mm. All of it.
Yeah.
Because it's coming.
Of course. Absolutely.
After every great moment in your marriage or relationship, winter is always coming. Mm. Period. And some are going to be colder than others.
Right.
Yeah. I took that analogy all the way there.
You did.
But yeah, like, I think that's really just one of those things, man, that is giving me a whole lot of peace too. It's like I can grow through whatever process, mm-hmm. like with the woman that I chose to live my life with, because it's so much bigger than any one thing. Mm. And that matters a lot to me.
Yeah.
I had somebody, man, I don't know if it was either a DM or a comment or something like that. And the guy was talking about, I guess his partner isn't on board with him when it comes to how he's trying to advance his family and build a life for them and stuff like that or whatever.
Okay.
And she's more, like living in the moment, having fun and doing these other things. And I could tell that there's some, like, they're colliding. Mm. And look, I'm not the guy to fix broken marriages. I'm not that guy.
Right, yeah.
I empathize with people who are going through struggles in their relationship. But my message is to speak towards the people who want to continue to grow from a good place or start doing things to make the relationship they have a little bit better.
Right.
Or people who are pursuing, meaningful relationships, a marriage or whatever. I want to be able to add to that portion of people so that way you can have some perspective around certain things that usually can mentally hold us back. I don't know how to fix a broken household.
Yeah.
I am proactive in making sure that I don't break mine.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Facts.
So having said all of that or whatever, when I was looking at that, I was like, man, there might be a collide in values or some things that haven't been discussed. And I can't say that I necessarily know what to do about that.
Yeah, right.
And so, in your opinion, because again, I know that's not something we can really relate to, what would be something that you would say to that individual that might be able to help him? Knowing that he's valuing paying off debt, knowing that he's valuing taking care of business. And that, in my mind, I'm guessing that means like paying the bills, working, doing other monetarily providing type things or whatever. She wants to have fun. She wants to have certain experiences. She wants to enjoy the bliss, I guess, of maybe an early marriage or whatever. In that conflict, I guess, or that collision of current values, is there anything that you could think of that might aid that situation?
I would say they really need to sit down and have a discussion, because from my point of view, I think both are important. I think you should, focus on, paying off debt, paying bills and stuff like that. But you should also make sure you're paying attention to the small moments and actually experiencing the present moment with each other, and not be so bogged down by debt or taking care of business, because ultimately business is going to get taken care of. But if you lose your wife in the process, then what is it all for?
Yeah.
And then for her, like, she has to make sure she's paying attention to the fact that, hey, stuff does need to get handled, and how can I help contribute, even if it's not monetarily, like, how can I help support my man in the ways that, so he can take care of business the way that he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't think anybody's wrong. I think that they just need to have a discussion about how they're going to make what's important to the other person important to the other person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, because both are important. So yeah, I guess that's really what I would say.
Yeah, I think, and said another way, it's like finding a new way to prioritize both.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you don't have to be without either or, but how can we bring both of those things to the table to where we can find a way to be able to have both without completely leaning all the way to one side.
Yeah, because both at this point they're probably both resenting each other, because they're probably like, well, you don't think this is important. Well, you don't think this is important. So now you're fighting, because now you're like, okay, well, you clearly don't care about my needs. You know what I'm saying? So both people are saying that, and now it's really an issue. So it's becoming bigger than what it actually needs to be when a conversation can just be had.
Yeah, and that's one of them things where I always think about, man, when you have a really shared vision on where you want your relationship to go, it allows you to be able to come together with your spouse and be able to say, like, all right, how can we go about this thing together and not be in a place to where we're clashing because we got different shared values on things that we need to take care of. If we got this goal over here, if we got this thing that we're chasing, how can we come up with a plan to where we can do these things and still be able to incorporate other things that matter to us?
Right.
Because I think if we're both sold on whatever the bigger picture is, we can find a way to get there together that keeps both people happy.
Yeah.
Because...
or both people invested.
Exactly. Yeah. Invested and joyfully going through the experience.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to always be just the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it might mean giving up certain things. It might mean moving a little bit differently or whatever. And all of those things got to be considered, but at least we in it together.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's like, a lot of the times, a lot of husbands or guys in relationships go wrong is the fact that sometimes we have this way of thinking saying that, all right, I should just do this thing because of me. I think that this is a priority, or I should handle this thing. And we don't include our partner. We don't include our spouse. And now that becomes our dominating thought or way of carrying ourselves. And though it's important to us as men, sometimes they can forget to include their spouse sometimes their values are a little bit different. And they can unintentionally sometimes feel like neglected because you've made this thing over here a priority, and I have something else over here that in my mind is also a priority. And now we're moving in two totally different directions, even though he might be doing the right thing. And she might be prioritizing another thing. Yeah. But they haven't came together about the best way to go after the things that are important, or including each other on how we're going to do certain things.
Yeah, yeah. Neither person is wrong. It's just ain't nobody talking about it.
Exactly. So. It's like, I want to handle these bills. I want to handle taking care of XYZ. She's like, oh, well, we got to take care of the family. We got to be at XYZ event or whatever. We still need to spend time together, be romantic, do all this other stuff. Everybody wants to handle their lane, so to say, but there's no communication about how can we do these things together.
Yeah.
And that's becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, now it's like, oh, well, I think you should value what I'm doing over here and appreciate what I'm doing. Probably would if you included them in it and you didn't just start doing stuff. It's like, hey, I want to start doing this for us. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
How can I go about this in a way that benefits both of us and we both be in agreement on it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And now it ain't you just being a leader and taking care of business and handling stuff. It's not to say that you can't. It's just include me.
Yeah.
I just want to like, I want my, like, from a woman's or a wife's perspective, it's like, I just want my opinion to matter.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that when you make certain decisions, like, you considered me about it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, women probably appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I know you have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think it's important for husbands to know that sometimes wives see what you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes there's flaws in your plans.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you leading us and you going a little this way when we should be going this way. And that's why a wife's perspective or a wife's insight is very important, because we can help you get there faster, more effectively if you listen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
especially,
and I think you've learned that. Like,
yeah, man,
you've learned that.
The good idea fairy lives on my shoulders.
Listen,
like the good idea fairy lives
stay on track.
my shoulders.
Stay on track. We're here.
Sometimes I can find myself taking 3 lefts, a right turn, a U-turn, parallel parking, and then pulling off diagonal when all I needed to do was go straight. And I was like, babe, and you always trying to like just get me back in line, because I got so many other things that I'm processing in my mind at the same time.
But I think like that's really important though. Like knowing your husband is really important, because I know that about you. I know how your mind is going 1,000,000 miles per hour. So like, it's like, okay, when you have an idea, it's like, okay, baby, I'd love to hear your idea. Like, let's hear it. And it's like, okay, after you tell me your idea, it's like, okay, I'm processing it. Okay, but we're doing this thing right now. It's like, let's write that down. Let's put it in our journal. Let's write it down. But we're focused on this one thing right here. But it's important for me to know how you operate and know how to get you back on track and get you focused on whatever the goal is in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can easily get all over the place sometimes. Like, being organized ain't my strongest area when it comes to managing ideas.
Yeah. Because you're very creative. Like, you're very creative. Your imagination be, and I'd be like, babe, let's bring it here. Let's bring it here. Okay. But,
yeah, my mind can do numbers. So you definitely helped me get back on track. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful because I already know that I'm like that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the amazing things that I've discovered in us being so, in the personal development is that I am actively looking at my flaws and the things that throw me off. And I'm looking at them quite literally, like without judgment or pressure on myself, just saying like, all right, what can I do to minimize these things?
Okay.
And a lot of the times that includes you.
Okay.
And you've been there again for when my mind is going 1,000 miles an hour because I'm processing ideas, and you help keep me on track.
Right.
That's a resource for me. Mm-hmm. Or when I'm stressed because I got so many different things going on, and sometimes I don't even realize that certain things just aren't important at all, but I'm still trying to do. And I'm like, all right, you know what? You just need to get rid of some stuff. Bad character traits, habits, whatever. Right. But I'm always constantly reevaluating myself and looking to be able to find flaws in things that I do, especially when it can throw us off from what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish together. Mm-hmm. And when you correct me or when you give me feedback or let me know like, hey, this is what's going on, and like it's messing stuff up. Uh-huh. I have to be at peace enough to be able to receive that from you and self-correct.
Yeah. And know that it's coming from a place of love. Because listen, I'm your biggest fucking fan. Like, I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest fan. I'm your biggest supporter. I want to see you win. So anytime I'm giving you any like corrections or feedback or however you want to say it, it's because I love you and I want you to get to whatever this thing is as fast as possible, as effective as possible, because I want to see you win. Like, it's all love. It's never like me being like naggy, like, oh, babe, this. No, I want to see you win. So how can I, as your wife, support you in the best way that I can? So I'm looking, I'll say this, I'm looking for holes in your plans. I'm looking for the flaws. That way we can correct it so you can move the way that you need to move to get to this particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's my role, is to help you bring your vision to reality. And that means me kind of nitpicking at certain things to help you get there.
Yeah.
Because again, some things you don't see, you don't notice. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, I noticed this thing. Okay, did you notice that about you? Have you noticed this in your videos or your content or whatever? And it's like, okay, well, you'll say no. And I'm like, okay, well, think about this. Try it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it works. It usually works out because it's not like me being a nag. It's because I love you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't resist feedback.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it can be annoying or frustrating or whatever, but not because you did it. Mm-hmm. It's because, damn, you're right. Mm-hmm. Or usually because it's something that I've already noticed and I'm getting frustrated because I know that I do those things. Or even because I'm like, why do I do that? You know what I'm saying? So I'm never looking at it through the lens of you down my throat about something or whatever. Yeah. Like, oh, you all on my neck or whatever. I'm not looking at it like that. I'm like, all right, this is what she told me. Let me look at it. Let me think about it and process it. Mm-hmm. If I take this feedback, will it actually make me better? Majority of the time, the answer is always yes. Mm-hmm. Even if I don't necessarily like it or whatever the case may be, I don't have to attack you with my rebuttal to your feedback. Mm-hmm. Like I can sit there and process it and be like, all right, babe.
Right.
I'll consider that or I'll do that. And sometimes depending on what the lane is and what's going on, like I'll listen to your feedback and I'll be like, I know she's saying that because there's things that she doesn't understand. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. She's still trying to watch my back. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do this thing this way because I'm working toward it this way. And then as I get through this thing, I'm going to let her know my thinking because there's things that she may not be aware of as to why I'm doing a certain thing. Mm-hmm. And then you can look for holes in that, like if you understand it.
Yeah, that's what communication is important. Because if I don't understand like why you're doing a particular thing, then of course I'm going to be looking at you like, why are you doing it that way?
Exactly.
So again, that's where we need to have a conversation about why you're doing it this particular way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people can't, a lot of guys maybe don't deal with that well, but I always keep, in any of our communication, I always try to make sure that my prioritized thinking is the fact that whatever she's saying to me is coming from a place of love. Mm-hmm. It's coming from a place to where she wants to either support me, protect me, or she wants to make sure that I'm not compromising myself, our shared vision, whatever the case may be. I know that it's coming from a genuine and honest and loving place. Even if I might have some internal conflict with the delivery of it, what was said, whatever. I know that at the core of it, it's coming from a good place. Mm-hmm. I can sit in that, I can process it, and then decide on what I'm going to do next. Right. And I'm at peace with that. Mm-hmm. And I know that takes a whole lot of emotional intelligence. That takes a whole lot of being willing to just slow down, take certain things in or whatever, but it allows me to be able to create a space to where you still feel willing to communicate certain things to me without shutting down. Because I know I need that. And so, yeah, man, I always try to make sure that I know that that's first.
Yeah.
Whatever she's saying, it's coming from a place of love and support or whatever. And that's always good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
That's right.
You do well.
Thank you.
You do very well. You play the supportive role extremely well.
I take this role. I take being a wife very, very seriously. And everything that comes with that, I take it very, very serious. So being your support, I got to be A1, top notch, top tier. Like I'm going to do whatever I got to do to support you. So
trust me, I know.
Yeah. Even crazy shit. I'm just kidding. This is being recorded.
Right. But I'm sure your voice went so low that it
Great.
probably barely.
I kind of did it on purpose. Yeah. So.
But I'm grateful for you, baby.
I'm grateful for you.
And I think we got some stuff figured out.
I think so too.
It may not be the best route for everybody, but I know for sure it works for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure it works for us in our relationship dynamic, our personality types, because the way we approach stuff is not going to be the most ideal for everybody. But that's the thing about marriage and being intentional, is finding out how best do we work well together. And then figuring out what that looks like and constantly working on it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah. I love doing this marriage thing with you.
Big facts. I love doing it with me too. You too, though.
I'm done.
All right.
No. I love being your wife though. So.
Thank you. I love being your husband.
I know.
You make it easy. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yes, it is.
No, being a husband is not easy.
Being my husband is easy. Oh no. What was that? Was that your phone?
Yeah, it might have been my phone. No.
Okay.
No, when I say being a husband isn't easy.
Being a wife ain't easy.
It's not because of individual tasks. It's internal pressure. It's like, because whatever you expect from me, I probably expect 100 times more.
That's how it is as a wife.
I'm aware of that. Well,
as me as a wife. I'm not gonna say all wives.
I'm aware of that.
Okay.
So like I'm not minimizing the pressures of being a wife. I'm just specifically talking about the pressures of being a husband.
Okay, well you specifically talk about that, and I'm gonna specifically talk about the pressures of being a wife.
And I know it's real.
Okay.
It's like,
because my husband, no, listen. Because my husband is a visionary, is a dreamer, and you think big. And I'm like, not that at all. So I'm like, okay, he thinking about all of this big ass shit. He want to fucking change the fucking world. And I'm like, how do I do this? Like, how do I help support my husband do these big, extraordinary things? So that's pressure too.
I'm aware.
And then maintaining this household. So it's like, not minimizing you as a husband, you know, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Being a wife is hard. Being your wife is hard.
I got you. I can see that.
But I love it. I definitely wouldn't change it. I'm not afraid of hard shit, so it don't bother me.
I know.
Yeah. I love being a wife. I love that. I love that you're a visionary and a dreamer, and you want to do big shit. Like, I love that, because that makes me have to become more than what I am. And I need to be that. I need to be more. I'm really hoping I'm saying this the way I'm trying to say it. But yeah, I need to be, I don't know, just more.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the best way for you. Well, for me, for you, and for baby girl. So
yeah.
Yeah. I love that about you. Even though it's scary. It is scary. But I'm here, and I'm gonna do my part.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really all it is. Like, that's all it's about. Because for me, like, one of the main reasons why I dream so big is just because I want to give my wife, my baby girl, like, the world.
Yeah.
And the people that I love, the people I care about, the people I want to serve. Like, I just want to give to the people that I'm called to give to. And when I say impact the world, it's like impact the world of people that my voice is called to serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's the world.
Yeah.
Like, that's my world.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, man. I feel like in order to be able to do that, like, I just have to continuously work on being the best version of myself that I can be at that time, and just constantly getting better.
Yeah.
And you are an amazing support in that. And every day that I see you, that I get reminded of the fact that I gotta be more. I gotta do more. And I still have to be able to show up for you in the ways that you need. And that's a little bit of a balancing act not all the time. Well, all the time.
Be honest, yeah.
All the time. But it's something that I joyfully do.
Yeah.
It's not anything that I would change.
Yeah.
Because the bigger life gets for both of us, like, that'll still be a constant.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Because as we grow through life, our capacity grows. The way we're able to manage certain things grows.
Right.
And so I am becoming more to be able to better manage and handle all of these different things. So I got to keep getting better so that way I can do what I'm called to do and be able to take care of the people I'm called to take care of. And I'm all right with that because I got a dope, really dope woman to do it for. That I really love with everything in me. And I wouldn't trade her for the world.
I love you too, baby.
I love you first.